Hi, I'm Vanity.
And I'm Gia Marie.
And you're watching
Girls, Shut the Fuck Up. This is a podcast where two trans girls are on their journey of discovering themselves. Not only are we both trans, but we just so happen to be first blood cousins. I know, it's hard to tell. This podcast is here to educate and elevate your trans experience. So without further ado, welcome to the pod.
Girl, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Okay, so we're going to jump right into it, and I'm going to start this podcast off right. By the way, I'm super happy to be here with you.
I was just going to mention, y'all, I feel like y'all don't understand. This has been, what's the word? How do you properly say this? It's just been in the making for a minute.
Okay, we've been hammering away to try to get this podcast going. Finally, we're here, and we're queer. I'm joking. No, we're here. We're just super excited. So I'm going to start the podcast off with a little trans fact, okay? So this is just something that I want to do with you because I know that you're kind of new on your journey.
Mm-hmm. And we'll get more into it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. We'll let you girls know. But my first trans fact, my trans fact of the week is trans people have always been around. And literally it says, we're often overlooked and erased in history and language has changed, but there are countless examples of trans people throughout the world and history.
Right.
Which is true, because trans people started like way back when Benjamin Button was alive. You know what I mean?
Damn, they got him too?
They got him, you know what I'm saying? So what was your first experience with like trans women, or can you tell me the first time you saw a trans woman, or?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, the trans fact could have been left at home because I already knew that, but I'm just kidding.
Wow,
no,
so
in all seriousness, I think the very first trans person that I remember seeing, and honestly, I think I remember even being confused about it, which is kind of weird for me because I'm not really that person that like is thrown off by things, like I should say.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds real head ass, but that's just me being real. Like, I'm not really I'm not really like hard headed. I feel like I understand things really well.
Okay.
But the very first person that I remember, like, or maybe I shouldn't say person, the very first thing that was ever trans alluded was around the time, maybe it was 2009. I was born in 98, so 2009 is really early for me. It was 2009, and there was like talks. No, it wasn't 2009. I'm gagged. It was 2006 to 2005. It was when Sierra was popping, and everybody
was
like,
1-2 Step.
Yeah, it was 1-2 Step, and they even put the song at the end of Step Up. You remember the movie?
I love that movie.
No, I remember being obsessed, right? And then I remember one of my brothers being like, "Oh yeah, you know she's a hermaphrodite," and I remember being like, yeah, I know. I was like,
who's Sierra?
Yes.
Oh, I do remember that rumor.
Yes. And
I remember
I was
that.
like, hermaphrodite? Like, what's that? I was genuinely like gagged. I didn't know what it was. Yeah, I was confused. And so they also didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. So they were like, yeah, that means that she was born a man and now she's a woman. That's not what that means.
That is not what that is.
I remember being like, what? And then actually seeing somebody trans for the first time was honestly when what's that? What was TikTok before? Vine? When Vine was going around and T.S. Madison was like 22 inches and like her dick was just flapping in the doorway. Yeah. I was flabbergasted, bitch. That was my first time ever seeing like a trans woman. Though I didn't realize who she was and like what she was. That sounds gross to say, considering I'm a trans now.
Not what she was. You're disgusting.
I know. I just corrected myself.
Okay, so first time for me was in person. Mm-hmm. I was like 18 years old, and we had gone to this bar on our side of town, and it was a gay bar, and it had just opened up, and they had just started doing drag shows. So I walked into the bar, and I remember the first person I saw. Her name is Hart. She's a trans girl here in Houston. She's really, really pretty. And I walked in with my friend, and I was like, is that a girl or a guy? Like, I was so confused because I was like, she looks like a girl. Like, she looks...
It? I can't. You want to get on me?
Stop. I meant to say she really looked like a girl. Like, I mean, she was definitely passing.
They always
And
do.
this was way back when. I mean, now she looks even, she looks so good these days. But, yeah, and my friend was like, no, I think that's a trans girl. And I was like, a trans girl?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
And then they just started popping up everywhere. Like, they were literally all throughout the bar. So they were all over the place. And that was the first time I ever seen a trans girl, like, in person. I don't think I remember them in TV or anything like that. I probably did, or maybe, but for sure, that's my first recollection of a trans girl, was her at that bar.
I'm glad, yeah.
She was wearing the tightest jeans.
Wait, but are you sure, though? Because, like, again, we're like blood cousins. I didn't choose. But your mom had a friend.
Yeah, but I never met Jennifer like that. Like, I think I ran in, like, when I was younger. I know Jennifer. I know who you're talking about. I never.
This is her mom's like best friend. Like,
yeah, so my mom had a really close friend of hers when she was growing up, who was a gay boy, and then eventually turned into like a cross-dresser trans girl. So my mom would tell me about her all the time, but I never met her, and I'd never seen her in person like that. Yeah. It wasn't until later on in life when I like met her as an older lady, but I had already seen.
Oh, so she was old when you met
her. I ran into her at Tony's Corner Pocket, and for those of you who don't know, Tony's Corner Pocket is a no strip club.
Time last night,
and so I ran into her. She was sitting up front by the stage with her homegirls. Just
ready to get her pussy wet.
Bitch, literally tipping the house.
Down. And it's always that one drag queen that does, all the way down. Like every night and never fails. Love her for that, though. Wait, I'm kind of gagged. Actually, I don't know what I was going to ask. Keep going.
So, well, I'll give you a second to think about it. But, so now that the trans fact is done, right? Now you know that trans people have always existed.
Right,
and
right.
You know it now too, babe, okay? So don't look fucking dumb when someone says that's a trans girl.
And
don't
just
be shocked.
because you hear a girl has a little bit bass in her voice, they're not always trans. PCOS is a real thing. No, I'm totally joking.
Sorry to the PCOS community.
I'm also a member.
No, babe, that's your real beer.
And yeah, cheers to our little cocktails, or shall I say mocktails.
Mocktails,
shout out to our
cheers.
good sis, to the studio exec. They made them for us.
They're mocktails. They have no alcohol in them because they know that we obviously can't control ourselves. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you have a topic for us, yes?
Yeah, I do have a topic for us.
Go ahead.
So, shocker, I'm going to talk about my journey.
You know what? That's good that you're talking about that.
Yeah, because this is our first episode, and I really want to introduce you guys to not just me, but to also, I feel like the mentality, the conversations that I feel sometimes come with a trans person. So for me, it actually, I'm very fresh. This is like my first year, and really like these past couple of months, maybe these last 3 months, that I really started taking it serious and started identifying as like a trans girl. Mm-hmm. And for me...
I have so many questions, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that you are identifying as a trans girl, do you want to medically transition?
Oh my gosh, so I was going to get there, but since we're here...
Let's get into
for me, so if you're not aware, medically transitioning means where you start hormone replacement therapy. And
you start taking testosterone blockers.
Right.
Basically transitioning with medicine.
Yeah. And it basically changes like your...
It changes everything. Yeah. I've done it. Mm-hmm. I've medically transitioned before, or I've been in that situation where I'm medically transitioning.
Yeah.
And it does take a toll on you.
I know.
However, it's just such a beautiful feeling when you see the changes happening and literally changing before your very eyes. The only downside that I would say is that obviously, like, you start to think different, you start to feel different, so you don't really feel... You just start to look at situations differently. You know what I'm saying? So it really does play a lot on your emotions.
I think that's what I'm mostly scared of. So for me, medically, I do know that it is an option for me, and I also do recognize that that's probably going to be one of like my ways of going further into my transition. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how soon I'm ready to start that, because I'm going to be honest, I'm a little scared of like the alteration. Like I know through you and through like other like trans girls, like that it does kind of like, you know, it affects you in different ways, and of course it's different for every person. But I'm a little scared because...
What are you scared of, though?
I don't know. I think I'm scared of, like, the unknown. I'm a Capricorn, so I love to have control. I really do. Like, of everything. And I know that you can't have control over every...
I'm listening.
I know you can have control... I mean, you can't have control over everything, but, like, in my mind, I can. And there's a way that I can have it.
Yeah.
I know, delusional.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm scared of, like, the unknown. I'm scared of not having control of, like, what my body's going to feel like, what my mind is going to think about.
Yeah.
That's really where I'm scared.
Wow.
I'm scared. I already deal with, like, mental health on my own, and I don't really want to get into it yet. But, but, like, I'm scared of, like, that's what I'm really scared of, because I'm just,
Yeah, I think no, I think what you said earlier about just not having control, I think that's probably where it's stemming from the most.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I mean, when you are someone who loves being in control, when you don't actually have control of yourself, and it can feel like that sometimes. Like you physically can be upset, or you know, you start crying because, you know, something triggered you, or someone said something, or you saw something, and you physically don't have control over how you feel.
Exactly, and
so it just starts to break down at you. And but sometimes you have to look at it.
Half glass full.
Yeah, half glass full, babe.
No, I
because
can't do
for
that.
me, it was very much like, you know, I love me a good cry. Like, I love crying. You know, I love a good moment where I can release the energy and cry for a bit.
Yeah.
So for me, the random like crying, just at like seeing a puppy, you know, find its home or whatever, like adopted puppy. Wow. Production on set.
Off with her head. Do you remember what I was saying?
So we were talking about, sorry, we had some technical difficulties, but we were talking about your fears of not being in control.
I remember. Yeah. I just know that I know things were like different for me because I started getting triggered by like the he, him pronouns. And also too, like I started like crying about these things too. Wow. And I'm, like Trump would say, I'm a wall. So I would never like... I'm not a crier, and you know this. I'm not a crier.
You're definitely not.
I'm not an emotional person.
No.
Unless the cops are behind us. I'm not an emotional person, so I just knew that like it was time to stop scratching the surface and really dig.
Yeah. And I really love that for you because honestly, so I started transitioning before Vanity, and I, you know, had gone through the motions. And then when I was transitioning, Vanity started to show, she just started to present more like female to me. And I'm, you know, thinking like, oh, you're trans. Like, cute, we're both trans. And so she would constantly deny it and be like, I'm not trans. Like, I'm just non-binary. And like, give me all these excuses of why she wasn't trans, but she loved like presenting female. And I was like, okay, girl, like, whatever.
And you know the crazy part is we have had so many conversations about this. We even went like live. We went crazy. But I think the biggest thing to like take away from that, I think we can both take something from that, right? Is that one, sometimes like me being the person receiving that type of like conversation, is that I think sometimes like not everybody is against you. That maybe their approach isn't that well. But not everybody is against you, you know? And that, like, that persistence really does help because it can help you have just, like, I guess, is validity the right word? I'm asking our audience, yeah? I guess to have some validity and understanding that...
Stop. What is validity?
Like, validation.
Oh, okay.
Like, and I lost my train of thought again, dude. Like, I just can't keep raising you. No. Yeah, just understanding that having somebody, like, to be persistent like that really just helps you... understand, you know, like, hey, like, maybe they're telling you this for a reason, and you have been feeling a certain way for a reason, so why don't we try and connect those two and see if there's something about it? Yeah, and that's what I know on my receiving end I should take. I will say, however, I got way more class than you, so I'm not going to spit in your face. No, I will say, however, that I do feel and wish that you had been more, what's the word, comforting and maybe less... I don't want to say attacking because attacking is not the word, and I'm not like making you feel bad. Put your hand down. I'm not. No, what I'm saying is that I'm like sometimes I think that like even though our intentions are good,
right,
sometimes the approach comes off the opposite. Because for me, it's almost like, what's the difference? But how is that different from outing a down low man?
Okay, so first of all,
I raised the question. Please
great, I'm happy that you did raise the question because we're definitely going to get to that. No, you watch your finger because you were coming at me too, babe. So keep it light. Oh my God,
I can't even constructive.
No, you see, this is the problem. The problem is that you're in my face with your fingers, but as soon as I put my fingers in your face, you're the victim.
My hands are
There's the problem. That's where it lies. That's what's wrong with you type of people.
Okay, girl, go ahead.
My thing is. What? What did I say?
Swallow, bitch.
No, so this is my thing. I feel like...
No, really, swallow your throat sounds weird. Okay, go.
I feel like...
That didn't work.
Certain... Why? What's wrong with my throat?
Nothing,
Does it sound crazy?
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Go!
I feel like with certain people that I'm really comfortable with, obviously you being one of them, you're my cousin, the approach, the tone can always seem a little off, but that's because I'm just so comfortable with you, and I don't see it like that. I see it me just being real with you. Like, I'm telling you, you look like a girl, you want to be a girl, so just be a girl. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I could kind of see where you're coming with that, where you're going with that, but it was never, you know, it was never ill intention or like maliciousness. Yeah. It was more so just me recognizing what I saw and like I was like, oh, she wants to be a girl.
Yeah.
But obviously you just weren't ready to accept that, you know.
I think that's the exact words I was looking for. I think sometimes maybe, you know, just understand that not everybody is where you're at.
Yeah.
And so it can be a little, for me, I know it was more like frustrating for other reasons too, and this is probably the perfect episode to get into that, but
what?
I just knew, like I said before, I didn't want to be compared to you for that reason, like, too, because I'm obviously the younger cousin. Give me a second. I'm the younger cousin, and so I've always been like compared to her. And as somebody who's clearly individualistic and as creative and as passionate and as artistic like me,
and you would wish you were the first one born.
No. I just wish that people would know how to separate me from her, especially because we are very different people.
We are,
and
I'm prettier.
Girl, give it up. My individuality is the most important to me, and my authenticity is the most important to me. So.
And I love it. But you know what's so funny is that you say that as if like
it was a bad.
We
thing.
don't get it already. Like that we don't see it. I 1000%.
Hands up, don't shoot. Like
you're right. They don't get it. You're right.
Yes.
And she is very you are very opinionated, and that's why I love you, and I love having conversation with you because we can go back and forth for hours.
We should start a podcast.
You're stupid, bitch. Okay.
That was my camera time.
Okay. You said something earlier that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Outing men.
Yeah.
Have you had an experience with either you outing someone or maybe someone outing you? Or anything, like maybe a friend you know that, whatever. Do you have an experience like that?
No, not personally. I don't even know nobody like that. So,
okay, sorry. I just had to take that hit. So, I personally have never outed anyone. Mm-hmm. Only because when I was younger, my sister... Dahlia, she outed me.
Are we naming people?
Yeah, why not? The fuck?
Okay.
They caused me this trauma. They're gonna get a name drop.
Okay,
no, my sister Dahlia, she outed me when I was younger. And I got my ass whooped for it. And I've always hated that about her. My sister was such a snitch. And I fuck with her now because we're way different. We're grown. It's very different, our relationship. But back then, she was my only friend. I literally didn't have any other friends. So she would use that against me and she would snitch and tell my gay secrets and stuff.
Oh my God.
So I think that really scarred me, and I never was the type to out guys. I never did that. I've had plenty of opportunities to out guys like that, but I've never done it because I can't respect someone who not only would risk that person's life that they're outing, but also risk their own. How is to say I out a guy and the next morning he comes and shoots me at my doorway because his family knows he's gay?
And this is Texas, so that's really realistic. I mean, the country in general.
Right, you know what I'm saying? So I was watching this story. I don't know. You know who Kevin Gates is? Mm-hmm. So Kevin.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Kevin Gates. Apparently, there's this one trans girl. I don't actually know her name, but she's really well known. If you have seen the interview, you would know. She went on a podcast and she basically went and said like, yeah, that she had sex with Kevin Gates and that he knew she was trans and that he was still into it. The difference though is that apparently she had her bottom surgery, so she had already had her pussy done, but I think it was that it looked different, and I think that's what he clocked. So I think that's why she admitted to him that she was trans. But then she went on
after the fact.
Yeah, like
oh my God.
In the moment, I think she said that he asked her something, and that she was like, "Yeah, I'm trans, I'm transgendered." And of course, Kevin Gates' freaky ass was like, "All right, cool, like I'm gonna still fuck it." Hey. But I'm Kevin Gates. If you're out there, just hit my line. Anyways. Point being is that when I saw that, she got a lot of slack for it, a lot of backlash for it, because people were kind of like on his side of why she was outing him, and I was definitely one of those people, like definitely tweeting her like, "Girl, you're the reason why there are so many trans women in danger, essentially. Like you put girls like that in a position where their lives are at stake. Yeah. They're risking their lives because these men are so scared of what, everyone's going to think of them. They would literally rather go to jail for the rest of their life than have to deal with their family ridiculing them or their friends ridiculing. Yeah. Also, by the way, we need to stop ridiculing trans attracted men.
Well, I was
leave them alone.
I want to disagree with you so bad at the fact that people people basically assuming that she's outing him. I want to disagree so bad that she's outing. Let me finish my thought. Okay. I want to disagree so badly, but I do agree with you because for me, I guess I just don't understand. She's a girl, right? Regardless of what people want to think.
She's a trans girl.
Yeah, okay, fine, but she's a girl at the end of the day. She's a girl. She's a trans girl. She's obvious, and he's a guy who likes who's into girls. Where we're just gonna not assume genitalia. We're just gonna assume that he's into girls, just by the looks of them and stuff like that, right? Okay. Why? To me, I just don't understand how that's outing if he's still fucking with the girl. But I do agree, if the world was perfect, then that would be the case, but it's not. Right. And unfortunately, as we know, trans women, especially trans women of color, are so. Okay,
hold on. I'm gonna stop you because she wasn't a trans woman.
I know. I'm just saying, in general, in a perfect world, that wouldn't be the thing. But because we're not in that world, especially trans girls of color.
Okay, so I was saying she went on that podcast and she decided to say that. One, she kind of even like I said, I didn't know that she was trans until she said it, so she outed herself first and foremost. But I'm sure that's what they probably knew that with even getting her on the podcast. But like I said, it's not about what you said as far as her. What did you say? I totally kind of spaced.
I was just saying, if it was a perfect world, it would be dumb to consider that outing him.
Okay, yeah, that's what you said. No, you're right. In a perfect world, it would be dumb, but we're not in a perfect world.
That's what I said.
And it's still dumb that she outed him.
I agree. Yeah. That's what I'm telling you. I absolutely agree. I would love to disagree if this was perfect, but it's not. So I absolutely agree.
Well, thank God that you don't disagree.
Why? What was going to happen, babe?
I don't know.
Oh, my God.
I might be getting a new host, so if you want to come...
Bitch, this is not your show. This is our. Stay with your pussy. No, I love that, though. And I just think, across the board, trans girls need to stop. And tell me if you agree, because I've been low-key thinking about this. Because I know a little trans hoe, and she kind of pisses me off because it's her main goal in life is to be passable and is to assimilate with heterosexual people. Yeah. I'm not saying because you're trans that you have to limit your life and you have to always be around the community and you should not be around straight people. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying though is that at the end of the day, bitch, you have bass in your voice, and you're always gonna be different when you're around cis girls. And my thing is that I think trans girls need to be better at, like, one, sticking up for trans girls and just, like, making sure you can hate the bitch, but, like, girl, where the position she's in, and if it's a shitty position, you could be there too.
Right.
So I just wish that, like, the trans girl community would just be a lot more sisterly.
Yeah.
And, like, understand that, like, babe, if she gets it, I can too, regardless of the fact. And less of, like, trying to, I guess, please, like, our heterosexual counterpart. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I really, again, this goes back to if it was a perfect world, trans girls would be there for trans girls. Now,
well, give me like a.
There is just so there is within the trans community. I've always felt that there is a definition, a line of passable and not passable. And if you're passable, then you will hang out with the passable girls that are quote unquote the pretty ones, right?
Yeah, but like I said,
versus the unpassable ones who are not necessarily ugly, but they're just like clockable. Me and you. Like I don't have my breasts done. I don't have my facial feminization done. I'm just trans because that's how I choose to live my life, Now, thankfully, I do fit in with the pretty girls, but there are other girls out there who, don't,
No, I mean,
so I think that's where the line of definition, and that's where I feel like the sisterhood does not come into play because
of
always
girls because of that being a theme,
right? Because there's always going to be the pretty, quote unquote, the pretty girls versus, or that don't really hang out with the ugly girls. But going back to what you made a point earlier about this. Fuck, I keep going.
Your hand in my face is not gonna work for me. Sorry.
Stealth. That's what it's called. It's when passable girls are so passable that they go stealth, which basically means that they are hiding in the crowd of girls, right? So what some girls do, and I've known girls to do this, is they play stealth for so long and they don't actually have their bottom surgery. They, again, risking their lives to go have fun or party with straight men, and then straight men are finding out that these are actual trans girls in the moment of having sex. At intercourse, they are starting to realize, oh my God, this girl is not
born a girl.
But she's still really hot. You know what I'm saying? So that's really dangerous in my opinion.
Absolutely.
I've never been the type to withhold, not that I have to, because I feel like it's not that I'm clockable, but also you can tell, I'm hot, I'm tall, I'm broad shouldered. Anyways, how I just start picking myself apart.
You're cellulite. Okay, girl.
No, so it's not hard. So that's what I'm saying. That's the dangerous part of it all. When the girls go stealth, it's so, I'm like, girl, for what? You swear, girl, why are you running away? I mean, I get it if you got your pussy done, you changed your name, you moved to countries, and you were one thing. But if you are, just passable looking, but still hanging out with the same friends at the same bars, doing the same shit, fucking around with the same guys, girl, you ain't hiding shit. Everybody knows where you come from. Right. You know what I'm saying? You just look done up. So. That was my point to you. I don't think it's right.
Stealth is a really interesting thing. I didn't know that.
It's
I have a homegirl who's stealth. Her name's Luna. Love her. Oh, she's so.
Oh, really?
She's sickening. She's such a good girl, and she actually is one of the girls that hangs out with the straights a lot. But she still gets it.
For me, it's a love that I have for my transness. It really does set me aside. Obviously, not everyone's eyes am I the best or the most beautiful. But I love my transness, and I'm not ashamed of that. Yeah. I love being trans. I love being who I am.
No, I get it.
So the ones who love it, and the ones who don't, I mean, that's fine too. I don't care.
I get it. Well,
so,
bitch, I'm going stealth.
Don't go stealth.
This is my
girl. Don't go stealth, girls. Be proud of yourselves and be proud of your transness. And if you don't want to, then
you're still a tranny.
Move to North Korea or something.
Oh my God. Okay, so every now and then on the show, I'm an Astro girly, so if you're an Astro girly, let us know. But every now and then on the show, we're going to incorporate some of my Walter Mercado-ness. And
for those of you who don't know Walter Mercado, Google him.
Yeah. He's everything.
Yeah, he's actually iconic as hell.
Absolutely. No, and yeah, like I said, we're going to incorporate it, and I just kind of want to give you, because astrology is a very taboo thing for some people, and I don't think everybody believes in it, but it's because information that the general public has is not correct. So I will be your resident, I guess, guide, bitch. I don't know.
Yeah, you'll be a resident zodiac guide.
Okay, I love that for us.
Astrologist. That's the word right there.
We love Caucasians. They always know everything. No, I swear.
Shout out to BBC. They're Caucasian producers right there.
No, okay, so I want to talk about, this is one that mostly a lot of people know, the general public knows.
Okay, go ahead.
It's called Mercury in retrograde, right?
I've heard about this. I have.
Okay, so basically, I'm going to explain to you what it literally means.
Okay.
So in the sky, our planets rotate, right? And they have an axis. So they have an axis. The planet rotates on its axis while it rotates around the sun. So whenever a planet is in retrograde, because Mercury is not the only planet that goes in retrograde. When a planet's in retrograde, it means that it's literally slowing down at rotating, and it's going, instead of it going along with other planets, it goes backwards. Right.
So counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise. And in astrology, especially Western astrology, we associate that with, like, basically the planet's benefits are starting to, like, slow down and wither. Okay. So you don't really get so much of it at once. So during this time in astrology, Mercury is the planet that governs over communication. So how we receive it, how we talk, how we text, how we sing, how we write. It's also the planet of, like, we would associate it with travel because it moves. So it also governs travel, over work, over commute, everything like that.
Okay.
Yes.
So it pretty much dictates your whole life.
Basically, and it also is like the way you retain and receive information. So it is super vital if you believe in it. If you don't, bitch, I'm not God. So whenever it goes backwards, you basically, those things start to slow down. You're basically not thinking straight. You don't talk straight. You don't think straight. You don't sing straight. I guess you don't fuck straight in our case. Yeah, you just kind of like, everything just starts to wither. And so with that, it always hits into under a sign. So just like we have the planet sitting above it is basically a wheel of the constellations of the zodiac. So Mercury is going to always be under a sign because it's 30 degrees away from each other, each constellation.
You know so much.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with it.
Okay.
I'm obsessed with it. So we're in Mercury retrograde right now. So this retrograde will end soon. It usually lasts for about 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question really quick because I have been told about this Mercury retrograde before, or just being in retrograde. Is it common for things to go bad?
Yes, so usually during this time is when most astrologists really recommend that you don't do anything contractual. Because
what does that mean?
Contractual meaning like don't sign a record deal. Don't buy a house. Don't buy a new car. Don't cut your hair. Ooh, there's rats in the building. Don't cut your hair. Don't send that text that you've been thinking about.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and so this is why it's important when it falls under the sign, because while the planet has its own energy, the sign also has its own energy. And this time around, unfortunately, it's under Virgo. And Virgo is an earth sign, so everything with Virgo is going to be tangible, meaning you can physically see it here. And Virgos are the earth sign that is more detail-oriented. So if you have any Virgo friends, or if you yourself identify with this, check your chart. You might have Virgo placements. Virgo people are, and tie your hair up, babe, I want you to. Our other producers are Virgo. Most of the time, you'll notice that a lot of Virgo's flaws, I like to consider them ghosts, because a lot of their flaws are they're so, like, practical, meaning that they'll always, like, talk to you in, like, a really respectful and understanding way, and they'll also really give you, like, just straight on advice, and they're really good at making sure that, like, what you do has a plan and an action.
Oh yeah, and I can see that very much from my Virgo friends.
But the opposite of that, you have to take the good with the bad.
Right.
So because they're so detail oriented,
they have OCD like a motherfucker.
Well, this is perfect that you brought that up, because they're so focused on one thing that they forget about everything else around them.
Yeah.
So because it's in Virgo right now, I would say that your thinking skills, because Mercury is all about communication, your thinking skills, your speaking skills, your reading, your writing, your traveling is not all going to be so detail oriented. So be very, very wise and be very, very cautious about the things you do and say, and consider over this retrograde.
Oh.
Next retrograde, it would be under a different sign, so we can have that conversation
when we get to it. How often does retrograde even happen?
It happens. Some years are different. Sometimes it happens 3 to 4 times a year.
Oh wow!
And it's not the only planet, like I said. Sometimes Venus, which is governs like our love, bitch, that hoe was just in retrograde. So if
no wonder.
If you wonder, like, why don't he love me or eat it from the back no more? That was why. That was why.
I did not. No. Okay, I just have a really quick game that I want to play with you before we end this. This game is called Is It Giving TS or CD? And for those of you at home, TS stands for transsexual, CD stands for cross-dresser. Now, you know, cross-dressing is very much different from being a trans woman or transsexual.
Because it's not an identity. It's
exactly.
a fetish.
It's literally just
fetish.
You're putting on makeup and hair and like you're dressing up like a woman, but just for an hour or two or whatever, you know. Transsexuals, you're living your life as a woman, you know. But this game is aimed to be funny and lighthearted. When I thought of it, I was like getting all these random photos from friends, and we just kept asking each other, like, is it giving TS or CD? So I have a photo that I want to show you. I have a photo that I want to show you, and I just want to know.
And if your uncle pops up, bitch, ask him, not us.
Stop. I just want to know, is this giving you TS or CD?
I'm so nervous.
It's not that bad here, like, see.
I know who this is. That's definitely giving me CD. CD on a good day.
CD boots.
CD, but she looked like
it's
she
the highlight on the cheek for me. The pen just touching the lip.
Right. It's very like works at Starbucks.
Very
part time.
I think she was probably working at some sort of makeup counter at the time. She swore with the yellow shadow in the inner corner.
Girl.
So you said this is giving you CD?
This is definitely giving me CD for sure.
Okay, yeah. I kind of got a little TS from it, I'm not going to lie. Because when I first saw the photo, it was giving me like butch lesbian. Like she had like a lesbian cut. I don't know. I saw it and I kind of got TS. But I can see what you're saying.
I'm definitely giving CD. Of course, let us know.
Yeah.
Okay,
you guys look at the photo and y'all let us know if they're giving TS or CD.
I was aware of this game. And I got a picture.
Okay.
And how is a picture of you? This one is typical, you know what I mean? But okay. I feel like it's a hot topic, and this bitch gets on my nerves.
Let me see.
So is it giving TS or is it giving CD?
Oh, girl. It's giving CD for sure. She's definitely a cross-dresser.
Without, just from the picture, like without knowing what you know. It's giving CD.
No, if
she's giving TS.
I was gonna say, if I'm just solely going off the photo, I'd probably say TS. Like, is she trans? But yeah, she's obviously not trans.
No,
she's definitely a cross-dresser.
Cross-dresser down.
And you know, she can't say that she's non-binary because she was just talking shit about the non-binary community.
Yeah.
I know that she was also really known for being androgynous. You know, that was her thing back in the day.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing.
Androgyny is still...
Androgyny is a real thing, but androgyny wasn't lace front wigs.
Ooh. What do you... Oh, androgyny was like your real hair?
Androgyny was definitely like where you could tell that they were a one gender, where they just bended the way they present. Bitch, a lace front wig, a stiletto pump, and... What's that word? Like a vinyl pant is not androgynous, baby. You're You're a cigarette, but in British.
You're a British cigarette?
You're a British cigarette. That is not androgyny. But I digress.
She wants to say it.
I want to say it so bad, but I can't.
Hopefully, after this first video, she'll get more comfortable with you guys. And she'll be so shy. I'm going to go with TS because from the initial photo, it was giving TS.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, you guys tell us what you think. Is it giving you TS or CD? Also, if you have any funny photos, send them in and let's get our opinions on your friends.
And if you're TS or CD, submit your pictures.
Yeah, submit your photos and we'll tell you the truth.
Down.
I mean, I'm a really nice trans woman, by the way. I'm super nice. I'm super sweet for the most part. Why are you looking at me like that?
All right, babes. I feel like we've come to an end here.
Thank you so much for joining.
So much for being
on
here.
our first episode.
We're gonna be on our way to Nando's.
Thank you guys so much for joining our first episode of Girls Shut the Fuck Up. We literally cannot wait to do this next week and the week after that and the week after that.
I had such a blast chatting with you, babes.
I did too.
Thanks for being
it.
here. And thank you for being here, mates. Until the next one.
Bye, guys.
Okay, smash your pants.
Smash.
Down.
For sure.